What does it mean to be mindful to you?
Well, I think about mindful, like your mind's full of shit, so it's like the opposite of that. Yeah, just being present, being in the moment, accepting what is happening, surrendering to the natural flow of life.
What does it mean to be conscious?
Aware, just aware, and the more conscious you are, the more present you are, the more mindful you are, and that feedback loop in my mind works in reverse. So yeah, just being attuned to the subtleties of reality, attuned to your emotions, to what you're feeling, to what your sixth sense is telling you, to your intuition. The more conscious you become, the more in tune you become to these underlying tones of this universal flow. Yeah, and it's just a continuous path of growth and evolution.
Third one is the easiest. What is God? Dude, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, first question for you. What does it mean to be mindful to you?
Well, I think about mindful, like your mind's full of shit, so it's like the opposite of that. Yeah, just being present, being in the moment, accepting what is happening, surrendering to the natural flow of life. Yeah.
And on that, what does it mean to be conscious?
Aware, just aware, and the more conscious you are, the more present you are, the more mindful you are, and that feedback loop in my mind works in reverse. So yeah, just being attuned to the subtleties of reality, attuned to your emotions, to what you're feeling, to what your sixth sense is telling you, to your intuition. The more conscious you become, the more in tune you become to these underlying tones of this universal flow. Yeah, and it's just a continuous path of growth and evolution.
Third one is the easiest. Is what is God?
What is God? Everything, everyone, all at once, at the same time. Yeah, God is love. God is, everything. I mean, the fabric of this universe in which is love. And I think we're just all on a quest here to realize God again.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
I'm about to launch season 4 of my podcast, and I made a decision to speak more truth and consciousness into it. And I think sometimes I have really dope business leaders on, and all we do is talk business.
Yeah.
And especially with my background, that's kind of where conversations go. So I've made a decision to start every podcast with those questions, so that now we have to go down that path, and I'm choosing it. With that being said, you've got a business where you've worked on personal brands. That's kind of been like the aspect, but it seems like you've focused on people that are kind of more spiritual or conscious in some aspects. So talk to me a little bit about that. I want to understand from your perspective why.
I mean, why is because I woke up and realized that the clients in the old agency that we were servicing, that we were blowing up and, adding 100,000, 2, 3, 4, growing to millions of followers and getting all this exposure, weren't really adding anything to, I guess, the collective. They weren't bringing like some positive, change and like self-empowerment. Yes, but like not to the extent that we need it today. It's still sort of the same paradigms of the hamster wheel, make a bunch of money, get this car, buy this house, just materialism in its essence. And it didn't feel right to be fueling that with my expertise and my business partner's expertise in marketing. And so things were kind of like we were low-key self-sabotaging the growth of the company because our hearts weren't in it. And so like for a year and a half, we kind of like our hearts were pulling ourselves away, but we were still kind of like holding on to this past, but it just ended up sort of falling apart. And at the end of it, we ended up giving away the company. It was my business partner who founded the company. So I was a co-owner, but he founded it. So he had the majority say, and he got offered $1 million for the company. And he was like, all right. And I'm like, bro, like $1 million would be fucking good for us. Like, let's go. And he's like, Thor, God's telling me to give away the company for free instead. And I'm like, at this point, he's been not working for like a year and a half because he's been going on and living with shamans, doing dietas, traveling to Peru, Mexico, all over the place, just on that quest. And so I trusted him. I was like, if that's what you are receiving, then that's what we're doing. And so he gave that away, and we essentially started from scratch end of last year, which was an experience and a half after, having pretty much everything automated for like 5 years. You're not doing certain tasks to then go back to doing everything again. Like, that's tough. But it was also, what needed to happen. Because again, we're building brands, we're helping these players reach the masses and expand their influence. Why? Okay, cool, money, great, we're making money, but like at a certain point, you realize that that's not where the true fulfillment is. And so, the pivot came in realizing that actually personal branding is one of the most powerful tools for this great awakening that we're experiencing, for waking up the masses. Most people are consuming not the news, not this stuff that's fed to them by the government. Still, a lot of people are, but especially the younger generations. Everybody's receiving their information and programming from social media, from YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. So if we can reach them there, that's how we're going to have a true impact. And so the whole mission of the company now became to empower heart-centered individuals to reach their target customers and show up and speak their truth, and supporting them in doing that. Because as a conscious individual as well, there's so much resistance to social media because you're so aware and you're so tapped in, and then you have to sort of feel like you kind of got to put yourself in a box to work on this app and follow this algorithm, and you got all these people telling you got to post this many times a day and all of this stuff, and you just feel like you're shrinking. And so how can you show up as a conscious individual, a coach, a healer on social without dimming your light? And that became my internal battle. That's what I had to figure out. I was frustrated because if you go to my Instagram, I'll talk about everything from A to Z, from death diving to politics to personal branding to the idea that I'm kind of eating less meat and considering just being a fruitarian, and like everything that I'm experiencing, I'm talking about. And my whole life I've been doing everything that I can. I just love experiencing shit. And so, it's kind of reframing that. What is the new approach? Because the less boxes that we have to put ourselves in to function on social media, the more of our truth can come online. And that's what the world needs, just authentic human expression.
So going back to what you said, which was you started with I woke up.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that mean and what happened?
What does that mean? That's such a good fucking question, man. What does it mean to wake up? I mean, you on this path of spirituality, you're going to have many awakenings, and you're just going to continue to peel back the layers of reality. My first awakening was actually on mycelium, which is the roots of the mushroom, in Ibiza on the north of the island, 2019. And it was a whole ceremony. I think we did 3 grams. And that experience alone was very profound because it was my first really like experience of plant medicine in a safe container like that. And so I gained a lot. And when I came home, I noticed that I was moving slower. I was less rushing. I was driving slower. And I was like, wow, this is fascinating. And I like this version of Thor. Like, I feel so spacious. I'm not trying to run anywhere anymore. And so that was like my first little mini awakening, seeing or perceiving, mainly feeling a different way of reality, feeling a different experience. I mean, when you first fall in love, like that's an awakening. Because like the feelings of falling in love, they're so expansive. You're like, holy fucking shit, it shocks the system. So you're tasting something new. And so, for me, it was that experience. And then obviously, you're not coming home from Ibiza all the time after mushroom trips, so it kind of faded away. And then I was like, damn, like, how can I get back to this? And like, there's something here. I want to figure out a way to live like this on a more consistent basis, actually integrate that. And so that became, the quest that would just continue to propel me down this path of awakening, of spirituality, of enlightenment, essentially.
So for you, the awakening is uncovering some new versions of yourself that you like? Did it stop there?
It's definitely it's uncovering a new version of myself that I like. That's like the such a simple, like on the money way of putting it. And it's just this fascination with, I guess, a new version of Thor, because like my whole life I've spent running, chasing. Like, I was kind of a prodigy child. Anything that I would kind of touch, I would turn to gold. That's like I was just like, if I try this sport, I beat everybody. I try this thing, I'll beat everybody. Cross country skiing, I'll win this competition. Snowboarding, I'll learn a backflip. Like this thing, like I was just going into all these different venues and I mastered them. And that then became my fuel for self-acceptance and from receiving validation. And so like I only remember from my childhood like really receiving pats on the back from my dad when I did something amazing. And so like that became my programmed way of operating. I need to just like fucking crush something and then I can receive love. So after that experience, yeah, I was learning that, oh, actually, like I don't need to do always something to receive love. And yeah, it was just a taste, and then it kind of faded away. And then as I've just continued to lean into these things and explore different practices, go to retreats, go to ceremonies, read books, whatever, which all of these things are amazing. And you don't necessarily need to fucking go to Peru or do ayahuasca in the jungle of the Amazon jungle to like have a spiritual experience and awakening. No, it can happen in your bedroom, just sitting in silence. But yeah, just diving deeper into these experiences really and continuing to uncover, in essence, the distortions. Like an awakening, if I was to simply simplify what I perceive to be an awakening, is letting go of distortions, things that are holding you back from your authentic expression. Because as a child, you're just showing up and being yourself and fucking around. And then as an adult, you kind of are programmed with all these rules and ways to behave, to calculate and not be perceived and not be judged and all that. And it's all just fear programming. You're looking for something external, somebody's validation. And when you're awakening, you're sort of letting go of these layers, these chains. And so it's not adding anything. It's just taking away what isn't yours, what was never meant to be a part of your being, essentially.
Are you familiar with Plato's allegory of the cave?
Yeah. Powerful visual. And it perfectly explains like this process.
Yeah, the way that what you're describing is those chains being like shaken off. And that's one thing that the allegory of the cave, it's like these guys that are chained up and they don't know there's another reality. And then even when someone experiences that reality and comes back and says, yo, there's this other reality out here, the people who have the chains on say like, no, that guy's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how you kind of shared that. And in part also the search for love or search for the significance and that father's approval was something that you had to shed in order to like know yourself and have that wake up.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it's I seek that father's approval instead of my dad. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and there's still like even today. I've been postponing this for like a long while. A close friend of mine who I just recently met, but he's an NLP coach, and we did a value exchange between our agency services, and I was going to receive one of his things. He calls them a breakthrough session. They're 8 hours long, and they just go into every single aspect of your mind, and like through me sharing stories, he identifies all the limiting beliefs and all the shit that I believe that's holding me back. And the core 3 limiting beliefs that I've been holding on to for the longest time is nothing that I ever do is enough, nobody sees me, and I'm a burden to people. So those are the just things that have been programmed throughout my childhood that I've been holding on to. And going through this whole process, I've been sort of learning to release them and let them go. And so and even coming here, like I'm coming straight out of that. So I'm like in a very raw state with just a lot of shit. Like I was feeling kind of sad in the Uber ride, just like, just my shit surfacing. But this is the beauty of it. All of this shit has to come online and come to the surface for you to then release it and let it go. And so it's just this never ending, what it feels like. I think there is some end to it, because enlightenment would be essentially the end of our human suffering. But it's just this, consistent quest and journey of uncovering your own distortions and then letting them go.
Yeah, interesting. Do you think that it was necessary for you to have a plant medicine experience in order to have that?
Ooh, I think for me, yeah. because I was very like stuck in my mind. I was a dickhead. Like I used to bully people, and that would be my way of like asserting dominance and control and keeping control. And I don't know that I would have ended up in this world. Even meditation, I was like judging it. Oh, you're meditating? Like that's so ridiculous. And when I first tried it myself, I could maybe concentrate for like 2 minutes, and I was like, dude, I gotta get out of this meditation. Like it's too much. But yeah, like with the plant medicine journey, you're kind of just like forced to look at your shit, and there's no way to run. There's nowhere to hide. And so I think for me that was needed.
And when you say you're a bully, what was that about?
Like not the bully that you see in maybe movies and shit. Like but you know, soft bullying.
You weren't picking kids up by their
by their trousers. Yeah, fucking. Kind of just like soft. Like I've always loved jokes. I've always been good with my words, and like just like. Yeah, so just using banter to kind of like somewhat mask offensive call-outs to people in like, it's just banter, bro. Like, I'm just playing. But then they're hurt, and I'll use that to sort of manipulate them. Why did I do that? Well, because it was a safety mechanism. Because before that, I would get bullied a little bit here and there from like random friends groups. And I was like, fuck this shit. This sucks. Like, I don't want to be bullied. How do I become the bully. Yeah. And so I did everything I could to like just, switch my friend circle, and then started bullying, soft bullying.
Did you just come out of that session, like literally just before this? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, like 3 hours ago. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you were just sharing and going deep, and then now you're here.
Yeah. Yeah, just letting fucking all this shit go, man. It's, I'm finding myself, really transitioning from, I guess, it's like a chapter, a brand new chapter beginning. Because I've had this last year, this last 6 months especially, but this last year has kind of been coming into my purpose, the core of my purpose. All right, we gave away the company. That was fucking like so much bullshit, back to financial struggle, stress, fucking not being able to pay bills, lawsuits. Like it was a struggle. And from there, going through hell, it's like, fuck, I can go through hell and I'm still alive. Like I'm good. Fuck. All right, I've gone to court and they didn't try to kill me. I was just speaking with some other human beings. Like court isn't that bad. Oh, you get a fucking invoice or whatever. Like it wasn't as bad as I imagined it. So going through all those experiences really helped me realize my power in a sense. And so now I find myself in working with Christopher on this NLP stuff. It's like I'm ready to like let go of the last things that are holding me back from fully stepping into my power and just fully showing up as my complete authentic self. And that's kind of what Instagram has been for me as well, a little game of like, how authentic can I be? How much of myself can I share? Can I share like the darker sides of me? Can I share the partly racist Thor that still has programmings from his past and his country and his culture that is somewhat racist? Can I share that? Like because I want to, I'm also scared too many times, like, because you could get fucking canceled and all this shit could happen. But at the same time, it's the fucking truth. Like, we're all a little bit racist, especially if you grew up in the Western world, because you were fucking programmed to be. So it's like, I want to talk about all these things that we're all navigating that most of us don't talk about because it's not professional, or it's not this, or it's not that. But like, where did that get us? Well, look at the billionaires of today. They're depressed as shit. They have some of the highest suicide rates per demographic in the world. Why? Because the hamster wheel never ends, and it's not the solution. So what the fuck is the solution? Well, it's community. It's authenticity. It's honesty. It's truth. That's kind of what I've now obsessed about.
Do you think that Norway is kind of a racist culture? It's like all white people, right?
It's all, well, we had a bunch of, like, a solid amount of black people and Hispanic and
in Norway?
In Norway, yeah. Depends on, like, I'm from one of the well, not from it's not a big city, but like, because there's only 5 million people in Norway. Oslo's the biggest. There's 1 million people in Oslo. I think in my region there's like 200,000 people.
You're from Oslo?
No, I'm not from Oslo. I'm from Stavanger, which is the west coast.
Okay.
But yeah, we had, a bunch of different, but less when I was growing up. But it's just this, I don't know what it's about. I mean, you watch the news and it's like, oh, terror is happening in fucking Al-Qaeda, and the people with the turban on their heads, they're all suicide bombers. It's like that shit gets programmed. And then, black people jokes is obviously a big thing as well in mostly white countries, because you target the race that's not the majority. And so, yeah, all this kind of shit has just been, I think it's natural for a lot of kids to, fuck around in those realms. But yeah, I would say it's a somewhat racist country.
How old are you?
25.
When did you do the plant medicine experiment?
20. Yeah, I was 20.
So about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think that I observe racism in people as not the color of the skin, although that's like the external thing that people point to. I think there's actually more of like a culturism thing.
Yeah.
And because, like, if you think about like the most racist person you know.
Yeah, I got him.
Okay, cool. And now put a black person in front of him, and maybe he'll make a joke or do something. Now put a black person that acts the same culture, grew up in the same neighborhoods as that guy.
Yeah.
And they're probably boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so that's my argument for, it's not the color of the skin, it's the culture, and where that comes from is a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
We don't understand the other person's culture, therefore we think of it as, anything we don't understand, oftentimes we don't, we're not going to, like, give the time of day.
Yeah, we alienate it. Yeah, I mean, on the money, absolutely. It's more of a culture thing than anything. And especially as well growing up in Norway, where the modern way of it, it's like the culture is fading. And it's fading in a lot of countries because of a lot of different things. I mean, that's
the culture's fading?
Yeah, the culture's
fading. The historic culture, the traditional culture.
Yeah. And a new culture is kind of growing, but that's more of it's more degenerate. It's more surface level, and it's led by a lot of youths, and it's programmed by a lot of social media input and whatnot. And so, yeah, it's a funny time to be alive.
There's like the theory, like the one world, new world order, or whatever, one world government.
Yeah.
And I just had this thought that I think is interesting, which is, what if that new world order wasn't in the physical way we thought it was, which is governments, but actually through like social media, creating one of everyone, one thought, one language, one process, one currency.
Dude, yeah. I mean, that would be the perfect way to also bring it into the physical. It's like because if everybody's operating and doing this, and bro, I think they're fucking doing that. Absolutely. Like if you look at some of the biggest influencers, they're all pumping the same shit. They're all pumping the same messages. The music industry, the biggest players in that game, they're all pumping and promoting the same stuff. And it's the same with, now the biggest YouTuber, Mr. Beast, like he's pumping a bunch of garbage. And so, yeah, I think that's also why we need to take up the battle on social media and use that platform, because it's where it's the modern day fight. Like you look at the Vikings and you're like, oh, there were these badass warriors and chopping people up on the battlefield and whatnot. Yeah, all right, it's definitely looks fucking badass. But the harder battle is the battle that we're faced with today. Being a warrior today is showing up on social and expressing all sides of yourself, the vulnerable aspects, the ferocious aspects, the truth about your existence, the truth about ourselves. And in a world of lies, the truth will be judged heavily. Some of the most hated people on social media are the most honest people on social media, because, we've completely lost touch with truth of the core of reality. But that's the work. And that's fucking tough, to be judged, to be labeled, to be this and this and that. And for me, it's still every time I post on Instagram, there's fear going through my body. Fuck, the rejection wound as a child that was programmed, that comes back up. Like, okay, shit, we're really doing this thing. Like, maybe we get canceled. I don't know, but we just have to do it. And I believe there's a lot of people out there that feel this calling to use social media, but just something's blocking them from doing it. And I think one of those things is just not knowing how to use it. How do you use it as a conscious individual? And yeah, number two, I mean, it's fucking uncomfortable. And so it's easy to bypass. Oh, no, it's not for me. I'm not meant to use it. But still, you're on Instagram scrolling. So like you are using it. You're just consuming instead of creating. And you should be on the creator end. So
what does that look like then? How do you advise people to use social media as a conscious creator?
Number one, get really clear on what you're trying to express. And like, this is the shit that you will talk with your friends about. And just like, you just can't stop researching it. You can't stop yapping about it. You're just like fascinated with this thing. That's probably what you should be sharing on social. And so that's step number one. Step number two, I mean, a lot of the people that I work with that want to share on social media have practices. They're healers, they're coaches, they're breathwork facilitators or some other facilitators hosting retreats. Like, they're doing the work in the physical. They're serving people to some capacity, and they want to scale that. They know they have the ability to reach more people, share this medicine with more people. And so social media then becomes that game. And really, really at the core of it is just throw all the marketing things out of the window. Yes, there's a strategy to it for sure. There's 20% strategy, 80% of it is just you showing up authentically, expressing yourself. So the best place to start is look at some random template or some random video format that you think you resonate with, and just use that, copy that, and start making videos in that same format and just share and just talk and express. And then through that, you're going to receive feedback. But some of the fastest growing pages on Instagram today, don't you do any editing or minimal editing, subtitles on the video, but it's not fancy or flashy. There's minimal B-roll. It's just super, super raw, and authentic shares about their own human expression, about what they're navigating, about what they're experiencing, what they're feeling, what they're thinking about. Because in a world of so much distortion and noise and bullshit and lies, like, when you show up then in this world and just be completely honest about what you're navigating as a human, like, yeah, I was feeling sadness in the Uber today. Oh, Thor feels sad? Yeah, I feel fucking sad sometimes, and everybody does. And it's like, that's the shit that make people connect with you as an individual. And especially now, that's what people want to see, because it's so rare to find on social media, because it's a very difficult thing to do as well, to show up in that way. But those who have the balls to do it, they reap massive rewards, massive growth opportunities, and you're spreading a really fucking good impact, because when people see you authentically expressing yourself, that in of itself is healing the world. That's the medicine people need to see.
So being authentic, and also not just in the communication, but also in like the style and the editing. Like, we don't need to have all these flashy little graphics or like the dollar sign ding pop up. Like, maybe we just strip it down and have simple thing, maybe simple editing and simple captions.
Because that feels honest. Like, if you're going overboard with the editing, like, a part of my unconscious is going to perceive you to be overcompensating for a lack of value. Like, why are you going so above and beyond with the glitter and glam? Like, is your product kind of shitty? Like, what's going on here? Why can't you just be like raw and to the point about it? And so, yeah. And like, there's an amazing book on this called Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. That's like one of the best marketing books I've ever read. And it talks about the 5 stages of market sophistication. And in any market, the consumer is going to go through stages of their awareness increasing, which is going to make it more difficult to sell. In the beginning, it's like a brand new product, so you have to explain to them why this product even matters and why you should buy it. And then once people know they should buy it, then the competitors come in and it's like, all right, how can we make it better? And then stage number 3 is more of making it better, but also making it simple to understand, demonstrating the product, showcasing the product. Stage 4 is called glitter and glam. So it's like all the flash, all the colors, the confetti, the emojis, all the things to like grab attention. Stage 5 is the last stage, and that's storytelling. Literally full circle, coming back to the basics, just telling story. And if you look at, for example, a butter, like if you're trying to market your butter, you're not going to market your butter based on, well, you could actually market your butter based on specs today, because if it's not seed oils in it, then people are probably going to be like, oh, I want this butter. But generally speaking, if you're going to market butter, you're going to tell a story. Like, I saw a butter commercial back home, and it was like the Norwegian mountains, this nice tiny little cottage, and they're, you know, making the butter manually with their hands, and you got the cows in the background, and it gives me this feeling of nationalism. Like, oh, when I'm consuming this butter, I'm connecting with the Norwegian mountains. Oh, wow, yeah, I want to buy that butter. So it's more of an emotional sell through storytelling. So if we can understand that, we can understand how the market's moving. And right now, the market is literally transitioning from stage 4 to stage 5. If we look at Instagram and specifically editing, like expression, because when you're making content, that's the product. Your content is your product. And so in this context, in this market of content creation, where content is the product, we're going from stage 4 to stage 5, which means that you want to go back into storytelling, just raw expressions, simplifying things, because people are fed up with the noise.
Yeah, and during COVID, everyone started becoming this content creator, right? Like pre-COVID, it was like, you're a content creator, it was kind of cool, but also kind of weird at the same time.
Yeah.
Like some people who were like at the top of content creation, influencer thing, was like, it was cool. But if you were in that middle ground of like making content, but you hadn't blown up yet, you were kind of a little weird.
Yeah.
Like why are you making content?
Yeah.
And now it's like everyone, like literally everyone has just accepted, oh, I'm building a personal brand, I'm making videos. So we've gone, I like the analogy of referencing the five stages of market sophistication, and we are in level 5.
Yeah.
And do you see social media going back to some level of like the cycle resetting in somewhere where people give up and it kind of goes back?
Yeah, I think it always kind of like circles like that. So what we're also seeing, because like what you're saying is interesting, because like after COVID, it went from stage 3 to stage 4. Like you saw these mad edits, like over editing, and it's just like, holy shit.
And that was cool.
Yeah.
For a period of time.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And that was the thing you had to do, like aggressive subtitles, all the colors. That's what Alex Ramosi adopted. Like, so everybody, Gary V, mad editing. And now we're kind of stage 5 and stage 1, because you're seeing with the transition into stage 5, it's like authentic, raw, honest expressions. And now that is the new standard, honest, raw, authentic expression. And so we're going to build on that again through the stages. And so I'm experimenting with a little bit more editing on my content right now instead of it being super raw, because I noticed that that's actually getting engagement, because my audience is now built on this foundation of raw expression. And so, exploring and experimenting, but at the core of it, to just simplify it for anyone watching, like less is more right now.
What do you think about boosting, like doing, business that did follower growth? Like, what do you think about doing like follower growth campaigns and boosting and doing like fake engagement to pad the numbers, right? Like for a period of time, this was very common.
Yeah.
People still do it because not everyone can tell whether it's padded or not.
Yeah.
So talk me through your thought process around that.
We've had so many clients come to us in our agency, like with ruined Instagram pages, with horrible engagement rates because they joined this giveaway or they bought like this many fake followers. And so the way the algorithm works, it's going to look at the percentage of people that engage. If you get fake followers, your percentage of people that engage is going to lower because the fake ones are not going to engage. So you're killing your organic opportunity for growth. And that's a deep rabbit hole. Like the more you do it, the more you have to do it. So you can't stop. If you've been faking your engagement for like a year or two, you can't stop. And the only way to really stop would be to maybe fucking go through, and there's tools that could delete all those fake followers for you. It would kill your engagement rate, so you would have to take a hit for a while, but then grow the page with influencer marketing, which was pretty much the only way that I know of to repair a dead or shadow banned Instagram account. And influencer marketing is the other growth strategy compared to organic growth on Instagram. You could have your reels go viral, but if your page is shadow banned or it's not reaching organic people, you need new, fresh followers. That you do through influencer marketing, basically shout outs. And so that's what we would do for our clients. We would promote them on our pages. We've been building a network with these theme pages for almost a decade. So we have some of the best rates and prices in the market. We'd promote them on our network, and then that would get them targeted followers that actually cared. Now their engagement percentage increasing. They've gotten positive momentum. The algorithm goes, oh, new people are checking out this account. It must be a good account then. Let's give it some boosts. And then now you're kind of tapping back into the organic game. And organic growth on Instagram is ridiculous these days. It's never been this easy in my experience, and it's never been this rewarding because new accounts are favored like crazy as well. And so it's an interesting time to be around, observing this, because I've seen everything from power likes to DM groups to all the different things back on Telegram, like 2018, 2017. Like there's all these different strategies that we were doing. But now organic and shout outs is like the two only ways that I recommend.
I think the idea behind the fake stuff is the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Where if I create the appearance, now I'll be able to like be in the rooms with the high level people that have the real following, and then it'll create that.
Yeah.
But I think the real problem with that, it's like someone who, let's call it like a trust fund baby. They inherit like $100 million. Like they may keep it, but they're not as likely to keep it as someone who earned the $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, lottery is a great example of that. So what I think is like that person didn't go through the work to develop what is good content to be able to figure out what that looks like.
Yeah.
So even if you're doing influencer marketing, like it sounds great in theory, but if you're not able to capitalize on it because you don't know how to make content, then you're not going to continue to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's that was the first issue we ran into with clients like 6-7 years ago. It's like, fuck, our clients' content suck. So like this is not actually getting them results, which is where we were like, oh, let's now do the content for our clients as well and add that as a package. But yeah, at the core of it is content, and being able to master that is yeah, I mean, it's just basic business. Like you could try to inflate your product, but if you don't have a quality product at the core, like in time, the cards will fall down. The pyramid will fall.
I don't know many people that are big influencers that worked with someone else to make their content. I'm going to use Alex Hormozi as an exception because he was like kind of really good timing with kind of where post-COVID thing, and he kind of came in with a really strong experience from business that he could speak to that people really trusted because he does have a lot of knowledge. But with the exception of him, because he had editors and stuff like if you look at most influencers, like I can't really think of many that don't make their own content.
Yeah, or at least started making their own content and now have a production team. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's something for like with anything in business. If someone hands you a business, you might not succeed with it. And I just think like, having worked with thousands of clients in social media and marketing, it's like, my experience, I'm starting to see a different perspective of it.
Yeah.
Where if you actually want to grow, and people don't want fake, they don't want the social proof number anymore. Yeah. They used to want that.
Yeah.
They want like real followers. Yeah. They want like people who are going to engage with their stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest flex now is not actually the number because everybody's like seeing that be faked and people know that. The big flex now is like actually getting likes and comments on your content. Right. People actually caring and commenting and giving a shit. Yeah.
So for someone who has gone through that and maybe they burned their account, like they could just stop all the fake stuff and make content and have it go well, or are they kind of like out of luck and they just got to create a new page?
Number one, I would do two things. I would create a new page and just see how that goes because new accounts are favored like crazy. It doesn't take much energy to create a new account, and you just post the same content on that new account anyway. So like it's a win-win. And the way to repair the old account would be with either phenomenal content that's just like, holy shit, this is insanely viral, or quality content, yes, and influencer marketing. Just
bringing new eyeballs to the page,
exactly.
The page grow.
Yeah.
Got it. What do you think about that strategy of like mass distribution of content. So you take a podcast and then you chop it up and then you have 100 accounts repost that same video. It's like the Tate style, or like the Iman Gadzhi style, people call it.
I mean, it is something that I'm exploring and experimenting with myself and also with clients in our company. And you have to have a certain finesse to the way you communicate on a podcast to be able to effectively do that. Because if you're more of a long form person and you're going to spend 10 minutes to make a point, then it becomes very difficult to turn that into something tangible on Instagram. But if you're a little bit more versed with, for example, with me, like whenever I'm on podcasts, like my brain is kind of still wired to communicate things in a somewhat efficient way to the point where it could be turned into a 60-second, 90-second reel, because that's what I've done for the longest time. So if you are going to do that, you either need a really high level editing team to make amends with your lack of communication or speaking style, I guess, in that sense, or you just got to really master communication on a deeper level that's tailored to being able to extract reels and also like not just like be sitting here like having a weird conversation, because I can only communicate for 60 seconds straight and then I gotta like stop or like talk about something else. So it's this kind of dance between those two worlds. But if you can master that, it's a very efficient strategy for production.
Someone I think is really good at that is Ty Lopez.
Yeah.
And he's got his talking points, but he can like jukebox them, where he can take one and then like put like a little different idea. It's like, you know, he's like, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And he has like his little saying, I read a book a day, and he like merges them together.
Yeah.
So I think like if you could line up on one, like, drop out a piece of paper, right, on one side, put like these like lessons or things that you think are valuable for people to learn.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, it's like some form of personal story.
Yes.
And then bridge them.
Boom. That's this, bro. It's so fucking well put, and it's something that I've been teaching in our program too. It's like when you're making a piece of content, one of the most effective ways to do that now is, number one, get super clear on the lesson, and then tell a story in your life where you learned that lesson. Boom, there's your content piece, and you could just do that with so many different things because you've learned a gazillion different lessons throughout your life, and so. Yeah, powerful way, because then the whole message holds so much more potency and depth when you're bringing your story into it. Because everybody's seen, 5 tips to do this or lose this amount of fat, and it's like, step 1, do this thing, step 2, everybody's seen it. What have we not seen? Well, we haven't seen your story, your unique way of doing this thing, and that's a lot more interesting in the world we live in today.
So in the process of knowing yourself and what you earlier on said, waking up.
Yeah.
Right? I think a lot of people will go through and discover things about themselves, things that you might call like gifts, or things that are something that you have that's maybe, I don't know, unexplainable.
Yeah.
Have you uncovered anything that you would say like your gift is, or your superpower?
Yeah, man. That's a fucking great question, because that's really what like what's exciting about awakening and this path is learning more about your unique essence. I call it your soul's blueprint. Everybody got a unique blueprint, and when you live your life in alignment with that blueprint, you will be the best, happiest, most performing, optimized version of yourself. It's just really the only path to true happiness in your life, because you're going to be fully aligned with yourself. And for me, I guess my unique gifts is my I guess childlike passion. Like I just bring a lot of excitement and passion to whatever I do, and people want to be around that. People like that energy. So my ability to influence people through business or conversations or just make friends, I've like most of my relationships and networks, people in my network they're deep relationships, because I have a lot of life force. I have a lot to give. So that's been definitely helpful, or something that I've learned. And also just my passion and excitement for all the different things. Like I spent my childhood drawing, painting, but also trampolining and snowboarding, death diving, learning to drive boats, climbing trees, like cooking fucking apple pie. Like I've like thrown myself into so many weird, different, unique experience, football, handball, basketball, baseball, all the different things. And being able to explore all of that was also giving me more I guess, access to my own life force, more reference points as well. Because I've played some level of basketball or whatever I painted, I can resonate on a deeper level with this person and build relationships with this person in a more authentic way because I've got more life experience that I can reference and bring into these conversations that make it feel natural. So that's another thing that I never thought I would like. I always saw business and like adventure as two separate things. Sports and like that kind of shit to me is like adventure. But actually, my exploration of those realms has added so much personality that I can bring into business because I can relate to people. Yeah. So it's cool. And it's like every day I feel like I'm uncovering something new and unique about myself that I haven't, been aware of. And like another thing too is just I've always loved to talk. I've always loved to share and teach and express and lead, essentially. I got 2 younger brothers, so like leading has always been my natural way, and I'd always lead my friends and would do this and this and that. And that's been just something that's been unique to me. And also like, for some reason this feels relevant, but like learning freestyle rapping, for example, is like when we were 18, we smoked weed for the first time, and some guy's like, yo, let's put on a fucking beat and freestyle. And I'm like, fuck, I don't know how to freestyle. I'm kind of freaking out. And I try it and it's horrible. And I'm like, I was so frustrated that I didn't know how to freestyle that I was like, fuck, I want to learn this thing. And so for the past like 6-7 years, I've been trying to learn how to freestyle. And now I'm decent at freestyling, pop on a beat, and I could spit some shit and keep a flow. But that's helped me massively in content creation and public speaking and conversations. It's like I trust my brain to find the words, so I don't really think too much about what I'm saying. I'm just kind of like letting it riff. So I don't know if that's a unique gift. I feel like we're all musicians on some core level. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun uncovering these things because it really helps you understand your uniqueness. And I mean, you have human design, astrology, gene keys, like all of these tools that could help you uncover this as well, which I highly recommend people look into. If you're curious or confused about who you are or how you should show up in the world, fucking get your gene keys read, or your astrology, or your human design, or some shit. Like pay $100, $200 to somebody to give you a reading, and you're gonna learn a fucking lot.
It's cool, man. Very, very interesting. And I think that there's a million different tangents people can go on to discover themselves deeper. And what you just described is kind of like the resonate, almost like what you said with content. Like what's resonating with you, and then just like for some reason that's resonating, just experiment with it, just test it, go down that path.
Yeah.
So, dude, this has been fun. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up or talk about?
I'm actually curious if you've gotten your gene keys or astrology or anything like that done.
Not gene keys. I actually not familiar with gene keys.
Yeah.
But yeah, astrology, human design.
Yeah.
Dude, I've done a lot of shit.
What was your biggest takeaway from those things?
The biggest takeaway from all that stuff is there's so much more that we don't understand. And while the knee-jerk reaction of a lot of people is to like write it off as like woo-woo, like BS. Okay, there's a lot of people that believe in this stuff, and not all of them, most of them aren't stupid.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that have studied this stuff, and so I think like anytime we resist something, there's a reason why.
Yeah.
Some part of us is curious for more, and so I think I think that's for me. Like I've seen some crazy shit, man. I've seen people see without their eyes. I've seen people, have superhuman strength. I've just seen incredible things that would never be explained. Yeah. And so all that stuff, there's some shit out there. Yeah. But there's a lot of truth.
Dude, there's this quote by I think it's JP Morgan. I'm not 100% sure, but this quote by some guy of JP Morgan's caliber at least, and he said, most millionaires don't study or use astrology, but all billionaires do. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. JP Morgan was fascinating. This is a whole other conversation, but you know who Nikola Tesla is?
Yeah.
So JP Morgan initially funded Nikola Tesla.
No way.
But after the stuff, because J.P. Morgan's, some of his biggest investments were in the oil industry. And when Nikola Tesla started to uncover things that were true that could potentially make oil not needed anymore, guess who pulled the plug on Nikola Tesla's funding?
Yeah.
So,
Damn.
there's a lot of fun stuff out there, and I think that without sounding too crazy, I think it's just fun to explore and have fun in that realm.
Absolutely. I mean, that's my biggest thing too, is like, dude, I believe so much fucking insane shit that I want to talk about on Instagram, but I'm also like drip feeding it here and there because I don't want people, I don't want to lose people right off the bat. And I'm like conscious of like, all right, they're ready for this now. Cool, let's talk about this. Oh, they're ready to hear about urine therapy, drinking your own piss. All right, we can mention that now. And it's like drip feeding this insight. And it's, but yeah, this world is not what we were taught it was. And it's a fascinating thing to explore.
We need to meet people with where they're at. And there's people that will resonate with urine therapy. There's people that will call it crazy.
Yeah.
Good news is it's probably 1 of 30 posts for the month, so most people won't even see it anyways.
Yeah. 100%.
Anything else you want to talk about?
I think one thing that is present is I wanna, because you're a successful entrepreneur, and there's a lot that you've done that I can learn from, and so I'm curious to just hear from you, I guess, a little bit on how you're bridging this world of spirituality and business, and like maybe some challenges that's coming up, or like what that looks like, what kind of reflections you have around that.
Do you know who Robert Edward Grant is?
Yeah.
I think he's a great explanation of it. Like, he was very successful, is very successful in business, and I believe he did human design.
Yeah.
And he did some numerology, and then he kind of uncovered this side, which is like spirituality was like his thing, and being someone to share wisdom, and yeah, it's just cool to see what he's done. So I think that there's ways to do it. For me, I think I got to meet with people where they're at and communicate them with where they're at, and maybe 1 or 2 levels past that. But tactically speaking, dude, I bring on business leaders and I bring on conscious leaders.
Yeah.
And I ask questions, similar questions to everyone.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a cool way of doing it though, like creating a platform like this and just having conversations, because I bet you learn a ton just, listening to these people from different sides of the world with different experiences talk about their lives and their experience.
I also do a lot of crazy shit. I haven't done like much on the plant medicine side, but I've done a lot of stuff that doesn't require that.
Yeah, like extreme sports type shit, or just like
I snowboard.
Yeah.
But that's like I've done multi-day like extended no eating, no like just water fast. I've done like weeks without food, just like
I did 3 days fasting, like just water. I felt like I was on coke and mushroom at the same time, bro. It's trippy.
I was like, if Jesus could do 40,
yeah,
I
bro.
could do 3.
Yeah.
Man, I've done I've gone many retreats, and I've been a part of some cool experiments and studies, and there's some other things in the works that hopefully will be able to provide massive exposure and sharing some things that have been hidden for centuries. And there's all this stuff is around us. If you seek enough of the truth, yes, you'll find, and the truth prevails in the end. So asking good questions. I think the biggest mistake people make is not asking questions. And I don't know about you, but I can feel in my throat. So our throat typically is for like sharing truth, right? That's where the energy of truth is.
Yeah.
And when someone's lying or telling something that's not true, I pick it up here.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing is like when I feel this in someone, I just know the reason why I'm hearing that from them is because they haven't dug deeper into the question.
Yeah.
And so to know oneself, you got to go at least 5 questions deep into it. So anytime there's something so for example, earlier we talked about resistance, people feeling resistance to certain ideas. I think if something is, for anyone watching this, any of this we talked about today, you felt like resistance to, try to go 5 layers deep. And if you really want to explore that, even 1 layer deep, why am I feeling resistant to this? And then answer that question. And why do I feel that? And then answer that question. And what's making me feel like that? If you go 5 layers deep and you truly go 5 layers deep, you'll get pretty close to the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting you said like that, talked about the truth and the throat chakra, because like it's one of the most blocked energy centers of people on this planet. And it's blocked by lies, but mostly the lies that we're telling ourselves. Oh, I can't do this thing. Oh, I can't worthy. Oh, I'm like that. And we just shrink down. And like to tie a full bow on that, if you're somebody listening and you kind of resonate with that and you want to awaken and you want to step into more of your power and your own potential, then
Comment the word potential.
Yeah, comment potential below. Many chat firing, fucking million different directions. That was fucking great. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say like, yeah, plant medicine could be a pathway, but like just fuck around and try things. Like, what have you not done since you were a kid that you loved to do as a kid? And like, do you want to do that? Oh yeah, go take a fucking pottery class, or like go paint, or you know, rent a snowboard and go fuck around in the slopes. Like, that's the kind of shit that activate you. Plant medicine can reveal who you are, but like it's in the experience of these kinds of just human things that we really connect with ourselves and that we allow that life force to come online. Because it's all there, it's just waiting for you to activate it. When I come home from snowboarding, bro, I feel like I can fucking conquer a mountain because I just conquered the mountain. Like, put me on any podcast, put me on any stage, I will dominate that stage post snowboarding. And so, yeah, there's a lot of value in those kinds of experiences. And yeah, I mean, that's why we're both fucking sitting here today having this conversation, because we've just said yes to life and said yes to those kinds of experiences, even though they're scary.
How can people connect with you and learn more?
Check out my YouTube channel, actually. That's typically never what I plug. Life by Thor on YouTube. 200 subscribers. Just started the channel, or gonna begin posting there. And also on Instagram, Life by Thor. And yeah, if you want to learn more about content creation, how to express yourself on social media, build a brand that's also aligned with your own truth, your own expression, just DM me Mindful Leaders on Instagram, and yeah, we can take it from there. But that's pretty much it. Instagram and YouTube.
Dude, one last question for you. What's something you're grateful for?
This conversation, man. Just, yeah, I didn't fully know what I was going to expect, but like just the purity, the depth, the authenticity, like, shit, man. Yeah, I'm very grateful for that. Yeah, thank you. And thank you for hosting me.
Thanks, man.